name is Neo, and this is the start of a new series on the najdorf, and I'm launching the series by the first najdorf game played. It was played by najdorf himself. He was playing Rico, and Rico kicked off with e4, and najdorf led with c5, knight f3, d6, d4, c takes d4, knight takes d4, and knight f6. Just developing with a threat. Knight c3, a6, stopping any knight b5s or bishop b5 from white. Bishop e2 was played, e5. So here there are two options for white. He can either retreat his knight to f3 or b3. So if it goes back to f3, black can simply play h6. So the knight went to b3. Bishop e6 was played. Here I recommend you play bishop e7, just keeping the option of developing your bishop to b7, hitting e4 if white ever plays f4. So white castles, knight bd7, f4. So if your bishop was on c8, you can easily develop it to b7 and there. e4 weakness. Queen c7 was played. f5 was played, and bishop c4, trying to exchange of the left squared bishop, but white played bishop d3, which I think is a dubious move or passive move. If he just threw the bishop on c4 and play knight d2 and knight back to f3, maybe it could have been better for white. So after b5, now controlling c4, bishop e3 was played, trying to neutralize weaknesses along the g1 a7 diagonal. After bishop e7, queen e2, putting pressure on c4, rook c8, neutralizing the pressure on c4, rook a c1, castle, and knight g2. d5 was played, and this is the free move in this position, which I highly recommend you aim for when you play the najdorf system. It opens lines for black's pieces. The queen can now go to h2 or hit h2 if white takes the d5 pawn and black plays e4, leaving a square for his knight. And now the bishop is freed by d5 as well. So I highly recommend you aim for d5 when you play such najdorf positions. So after bishop takes c4, d takes c4, a3, trying to stop any b4s from blacks. They just played b4 anyway. A b4 and bishop takes b4. g4 was played. I don't know why. Maybe he was trying to get some counter play on the king side, but it was easily made by first doubling the pawns on b, on c2 and c3. After queen c6, queen g2, knight c5, just putting more pressure on e4. The bishop has to take. King takes c5, check, king h1, rook f. And now we are starting to some d5 play from black, which was decisive in the game. Queen e2 was played, a6, now stopping any g5s, and there's a weakness on black's camp, which was well, not thoroughly exploited by white. White tried to exploit it here, but queen d6 easily defended a6. After hitting d2 as well. After rook uf d1, queen c7 was played, just vacating the square for the rook so that they can double easily. After king g2, queen rook d6, h3, rook c d8, king f3, queen d7, and now hitting the d2 weakness and putting pressure on the d5. King e3, trying to defend d2, and then knight goes to e8. And well, this was a decisive move of the game. Now the knight simply goes to b5, where it can take c3. So after rook a5, knight c7 was played, rook takes e5, knight b5. Now the c3 pawn is under fire. After rook d5, black simply takes the rook and forks the rook and queen. And after white plays queen f3, knight takes d1, and white has said enough. He resigned here. Well, this was the first video of the series. So I hope you subscribe and get more of these videos on the najdorf. And please leave any comments on YouTube. Thanks very much.